Warrington, Team Fit Revolution Elite. Thank you guys for showing up tonight. Tonight we have a special training. You're not going to have to hear me babbling. You're going to hear, we're going to be introducing Mr. Todd Falcone. He's got over 25 years experience in the network marketing profession. Over the past decade, he's basically dedicated the majority of his time to speaking, teaching, and training on the network marketing profession. So he's a very accomplished speaker. He conducts conference calls, webinars, and live trainings, kind of like what he's doing for us tonight. But he speaks all over the world. Last year alone, for instance, he spoke in over 42 different times in Asia and UK and all sorts of places. So really special guy. So you're in for a real good treat tonight. He also consults for network marketing company owners and also helps with basically high-income earning distributors in the profession. He has a killer A-Team program launch, you guys, to take a look at, too. We have not done it yet. I wanted to, but we're in the middle of our Coach Basics this time, and we did speak to two people, and actually in another network marketing company when we were with Eric Worre, and they gave it just huge kudos, and he just got it started, so you'll have to wait for the next one. But go to toddfalcone.com, that's with the Falcone with an E on the end of it, and check out that A-Team training, and it's something you guys should really take a look at. We'll probably get on the next round. And also go to, as you know, Eric Worre is a big part of our group here now, and go to Network Marketing Protocol and look at episode number 978, and you'll see Buzzy Boxer, that character that Todd did. It's absolutely hilarious. So anyway, with that, tonight we're going to be talking, or I'm not going to be talking. I get to actually listen in and get trained tonight, which I'm looking forward to. And Todd's going to be talking about cracking the code to consistency, and it's Todd's 11-step formula that's going to teach you exactly how to be consistent in your business, to stay on task, and to remove procrastination. And I know with our Coach Basics group, that's one of the that and our fear of success and some other things. So Todd's going to be talking about that tonight. So it's going to be an awesome training for you guys. It's going to be 45 minutes to an hour long, so sit back, take some copious notes. And with that, Todd, I'm going to turn it over to you, my friend, and thank you very much for doing the training tonight.
Well, Blake, thank you very much, Angie, as well. And I'll have to remember that episode 978. I'll have to go check out that episode. I didn't know that. So
yeah, it's good.
It's good when you can laugh at yourself even. So.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh, man, yeah.
That was funny, and yeah, it's definitely, he's got it up live now, so.
I'll have to go check that. But great to be with you guys. I appreciate it, and congratulations on all of your success. And you guys are just in a great spot. You're in a great company, great field leadership, great corporate leadership, great stuff going on, and you're doing the world a justice by going out there and spreading the word of health and financial well-being to people. So it's just an exciting thing to be involved in. This is a really fun subject for me to talk about, consistency, and unfortunately for a lot of people, the lack thereof. The topic tonight is cracking the code to consistency, and I actually created this training based on just the utter need for it, really, and the fact that in my business over the last couple of decades, I've been very, very consistent in the things that I've done, and there's a reason why, and that's why that's what I'm going to be sharing with you is this formula and this way of doing things. But I want to just kind of hear, over the last 25 or so years, I've been involved in. I started in August of 1989 in network marketing, and I see all these folks that get involved in this profession and have all the chances, all the opportunity in the world to create significant life change for themselves and for other people, and they say they want to do something, and they probably really do want to do something, but oftentimes they don't actually do the things that they want to do. So there's a sweeping problem in this profession, and it affects tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people in our profession. I'm talking about people that are in our business. They have a distributor ID number, and they may likely even show up for national conferences, regional events, weekly meetings, training calls, Super Saturdays. But here's the thing. The sweeping problem is lack of consistency. The inability, for whatever reason, to maintain a regular routine of activity on an ongoing basis to create results, to create success. And without consistency, nothing happens. Lack of consistency causes people's businesses not to grow. it causes, in some cases, complete and utter frustration, anguish, loss of self-worth, increased doubt, emotional distress, sadness, depression, and ultimately failure. And I hope that doesn't sound good for you, because it isn't. And if you can't stick to it, you can't succeed doing it. So the thing is, how come it's so hard for so many people to be consistent in this business? Why is that? Why can't you just go get after it? Why is it tough? I mean, why can't you just go do it? If you already knew the answer to that question, then you'd probably already be there, or be well on your way. And there's a whole slew of people that want to, but they just can't seem to. And that's one of the questions we'll be answering tonight, is why. And once you know why something is holding you back from acting and being consistent in that action, then and only then can you begin to actually act on it. So here's the thing. The number one cause of failure in this business is fear. But you probably already knew that. Most people do. I was on a pretty sizable conference call the other day, and I asked my entire audience. There's a big group of people, I think probably, 400 or 500. And I said, what do you think is the number one cause of failure in this business? And without exception, every single person on that call, there's not one other answer. Everybody said fear. Nothing came a close second. There wasn't even another answer. But, it's not the only one. It's a combination of different factors that prevent people from moving forward or towards something. And fear alone isn't the one thing that stops people. Yeah, we could all just blame it on fear, right, and be done with it. But it's deeper than that. It's easy to just, point the finger and say, I'm afraid of what people might say, think, or do. What if I screw up? What if I say the wrong thing? And say, okay, that's the reason. But let's look at something, okay? What you see on your screen right there, what is that? That's the Medal of Honor. And it's the highest military decoration awarded by the U.S. government. And it's given to people who distinguish themselves, and I quote, this is what it says, conspicuously by gallantry at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty while engaged in action against an enemy of the United States. You can't tell me that those individuals who have been given that medal, the Medal of Honor, weren't scared, that they didn't feel fear. Can you imagine running through the jungle or hiding in the desert where literally at every turn, wherever you are, around every corner, and you can't even see them most of the time, behind every rock, someone is likely waiting there to kill you, not to have a conversation with you, but to demolish you. I'd say that pretty much anybody, when faced with that, would be scared of it. But here's the thing. Oh gosh, Todd, they were courageous. Of course they were. Acting in the face of your fear, in spite of your fear, that's called courage. But there's something more to it than that. Here's the thing. There's something more than the fear. There's something more than being courageous for the sake of being courageous that causes people, and caused people, of course, in this case, to win the Medal of Honor that they did. Let's look at another example. This is perfect timing because we just had MLK Day, right? Y'all know who that is. It's Martin Luther King Jr. He risked his life and lost it fighting for equality and freedom for African Americans in our country. Obviously, I didn't know the guy personally, but I'm sure that in spite of his actions, he still had fear in his life, just like every single human being on earth, just like everyone. Everybody has fear, yet he acted in spite of it. Why? Martin Luther King, those individuals that have won the Medal of Honor, and countless other examples of people who had fear yet acted on it, had something more. The question is, why did they act, right? Why did they move? What caused them to act in spite of their fears to actually do something? Because everybody has fear. Everybody's like, whoa, hold on a second. But why is it some people move and other people don't? The underlying cause, what do you think it is? What do you think that caused hundreds of civilians, firefighters, police personnel to run into the Twin Towers on 9/11 to help pull people out of those buildings? I can't even, honestly, I can't even relate to that situation. I can't even fathom, imagine the kind of fear that was running through their bodies during that, incredible tragedy that happened in the U.S. back on 9/11 that we'll all remember, I'm sure, for the rest of our lives. But they still acted anyhow. The question again is why? This is at the core of motivation, of movement. We've got to begin to understand that what were the causal factors that make people do things? And I'd say that if we looked at those examples, those are pretty big examples. And if I had more time, I could probably give you, I could probably give you dozens of other examples of human beings that even when faced with fear and dire circumstances, they still moved. And I think that should make you curious, don't you think? How is it that these people were able to act? Because here we are, I mean, look, 9/11, MLK, Medal of Honor, Jungles, crazy stuff. And people that get involved in network marketing can't seem to move. I can't go talk to somebody about how they can change the direction of their life financially and in their health. Here's the thing, they had a higher purpose. They all had a reason that was way bigger than themselves. And I want you to begin to think for a second about the worthiness of pursuing your business. And while the higher purpose of you doing your business may never be as significant as the examples I just gave, what's the purpose? What's your purpose? To make some money? For what? So you can go spend it? So you can pay your bills? So you can get out of debt? Get back to zero? I mean, that's not a goal. So you can make money anywhere. People act, they move in the face of fear because they have a bigger reason for doing it than the fear itself. They have clarity with it. They know in their minds, their hearts, their body, with every ounce of them, and that they have a purpose for doing whatever it is that they're doing. It's bigger, way bigger than what they are. So what do you think those folks were saying to themselves? The people that won the Medal of Honor, my country is bigger than me. Martin Luther King, the freedom and the liberation of all African Americans, that's bigger than I. The people that risked their lives on 9/11, if I can go in there, if I can save one life and pull that person out of that building, that's bigger than me. And here's the thing, individuals who act in the face of their fears, even when faced with the high probability of death, do so because their purpose for doing it is so much greater, so much more deeply significant and meaningful than the fear itself. Yeah, they're scared, but they do it anyway. Not because they're tough or they're physically strong necessarily. Their purpose for doing it shelters them and gives them the strength that they need to do it. That purpose becomes a driver. You want to write that down. That purpose becomes a driver for them. Fear is irrelevant. It's inconsequential. It's meager because the purpose is so monumental that acting is a must. See, the thing here is when you have a life of purpose, or in this case, a business with purpose, you take action. There's no power in you running away. You can't run away from something forever. You get tired. You get burned out. And whatever it is that you keep running away from, because we can't run forever. We can't keep running. You think you might be able to, but it ain't going to last forever. You keep running. It's going to eventually catch up to you. Nobody has the stamina to run from their stuff forever. Nobody does. Put your mind on your business for a second here. And whatever dominating thought processes that you have associated with your network marketing business, is your back turned to your business, or are you facing it head to head? I can sit here and tell you all day long how important it is to confront the enemies of your mind, the self-doubt. Well, what if I can't succeed at this? The thoughts of, whoa, well, why would somebody ever listen to me? I've never made any money in business. What if it doesn't work? What if I screw up? What if I say the wrong thing? What if? I mean, that's the greatest battle that we all face in this business. And I can tell you, you got to face it. But it isn't until you begin to understand that you actually doing something only happens when the motivation for doing so isn't based on escaping, running away, evading, or avoiding. Here's the thing, running away from stuff, trying to get out of something, let's say debt, for example, hoping to lose something, weight, that type of motivation is weak, it's powerless. If there's no power in it, there's no strength in running away or attempting to get away from something, how can you ever expect to be consistent where the entire premise is based on escape? And I want you tonight to really think for a second, to read between the lines if you have to, and just begin to understand that if you want your anguish, your, I don't know, whatever the right word is, your frustration, your pain to go away, you have to shift your thinking about what it is that you're doing. or in this case, maybe not doing so much. Ask yourself this question. Have I been trying to get away to escape from something that's relatively insignificant, or am I looking to go for something that has way greater worth? You don't want to lose weight, you want to get ripped, right? You don't want to get out of debt, you're creating financial independence. It's a shift in your thinking that creates a motivational shift for you. And you know, I hear this all the time. I'm just not motivated. I just can't seem to get myself motivated for very long. I can't stay there. You want to start being motivated? You want to stay there? Change the way you look at what you do. Okay? Stop running from something, running away from. I'm just trying to get out of debt. Stop running from something and start moving towards something greater. Change your focus. Most people aren't moving because there's nothing to move toward. They think there is, but their focus is on escape, and escape isn't a motivator that lasts for very long. And here's the thing: once you run away from something and you're a safe distance away from whatever it is that you're running away from, you stop. It didn't get you any closer to anything; it just got you further away from something you didn't want. And then when you stop running from what you didn't want, because now you got a safe distance, what you didn't want keeps moving and it catches up with you. And this is a process. This happens all the time. It's like the yo-yo effect. Up, down, back, forth, up, down. Whether we're talking about dieting, business, relationships, it's all the same. Stop running. Change your language, you change your life. Let me explain something to you. Becoming consistent in whatever it is that you do in business or anything else requires a language shift. Phrases like, I wish I could, I hope to, I want, blah, 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 I long for. They really don't mean anything. I mean, they mean you'll do nothing. A wish or hope for something, it's kind of like keeping your fingers crossed and hoping that something might happen that can't or probably won't happen. In fact, the very word wish, if you go look at the definition, it means exactly that. It means that it won't happen. Go look up the definition here. Here it is, in fact. A wish is defined as this: to feel or express a strong desire or hope for something that is not easily attainable, to want something that cannot or probably will not happen. So when somebody says words don't have meaning, they absolutely have meaning. In fact, they have absolute meaning. But Todd, I didn't mean that. What I meant was this. I didn't really mean I want to just try to give it a shot. It doesn't matter what you mean. Language has power, and that has power over you. So here's the thing. You'll never ever be consistent in anything if you're hoping or wishing it's going to happen. It never will. Being consistent in your business is way more than just taking action every day. There are reasons. There are things that cause you to move. There are things that are causal factors that make people do stuff. And when someone says, oh, I need to be more consistent, it basically means, oh, I'll never be consistent. And once you understand why you haven't been consistent and what must happen in order for you to do it, you'll start moving. And that's exactly why I'm doing this for you guys, to help you understand that it's more than just doing. If it was just doing, you'd already be doing it, wouldn't you? Right? Oh, I just got to do it. And if nobody ever told you that the words that you choose to use and how you choose to use those words have a far greater impact than most people realize, you'd continue to talk the way you talk and you wouldn't even think about it. And I've been really fortunate in my life to have people call me to the carpet on stuff. And, if I'm using the wrong kind of language, weak language, I have buddies, I have super successful people that just call me to the carpet on it. And here's a book I highly recommend that you grab. You can go Amazon it, go find it. It's pretty easy. It's a book called What to Say or What You Say When You Talk to Yourself by Shad Helmstetter. It's a great book. You can go find it for probably $6. How you say stuff internally and externally affects you and everybody else around you. It affects your mood. It affects your motivation, your attitude. Start being aware of what you're saying. And if you've heard me ever train almost on every stage that I talk on, I say this. The first step towards change is awareness. You can't change the things that you don't know need changing. Start being cognizant of the words and the language that you use, both internally when you talk to yourself and externally. And you know what? You'll start catching yourself. After you start to become aware, you'll start catching yourself. Oh, wait a second. You'll like try to pull it. You can't wrap the words back in your mouth, but you'll shift what you're saying. You'll say something, you'll realize, oh, what you said. Let me redo that. And you'll start catching other people, and you'll be correcting them as well. Here's the thing. My formula, my 11-step formula for being consistent, I have a very, very specific formula that I follow with every major project or business that I pursue. And I mean everything, including, like I'm in my house right now. In my house downstairs, the only room in my whole home right now that's fully together is my office. I'm doing a complete, absolute, crazy overhaul of my house. And even doing something like that, I go through the formula, whether it's a brick and mortar business, multi-level marketing business, major home project, anything that I do, I go through this 11-step formula. And it's the formula itself that creates the situation. It's the causal factor for me actually doing what it is that I set out to do. And there's 11 steps that I go through, like I said, with whatever it is that I'm about to do that gives me that certainty that I'm going to finish what I start. And if you're going to go to a bank and go ask for money, for example, to get a loan to start a business, the only way that they'd give you any money is by you providing them a well thought out, written business plan. And one that made sense. You can't just walk into a bank and say, hey, yeah, I'm starting this business. We're going to sell these widgets. I have the store over here, and, give me 50 grand. They'll never give it to you. And I'm just wondering, how many of you guys have an actual written business plan for your network marketing business? The 11-step formula that I follow is essentially that. It's a business plan for your independent distributorship in this case, but with emotion and meaning packed into it. And, here's the question. When's enough going to be enough for you? Like, if you're in a situation right now where you're in your business, but you're not doing your business, and you kind of know it because you're not. You look back and you're like, I just wish another day. When are you going to finally say, I've had enough of this garbage? And again, here's the thing. I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. You might be crushing it in your business, and if you are, good for you. But the reason I'm even having this conversation with you guys is because I deal with this every day, talking to, coaching, teaching, training so many people who just can't get around to it. And you really got to get to a point where you kind of get fed up. It's like, I've had enough of this. I can't take another day of me sitting around doing nothing. I'm done, having a good week one week and then being completely vacant and unfindable the next week. Hot to trot one week, not to trot the next week. What's it going to take for you to get to the end of your rope where you're so fed up that you actually begin moving and then you stay in that motion? And if I were you, if you're struggling with that, and again, I can't assume that you are, but if you're in that place, you're hot one week, then you're not the next week, or you're just not all the time and you're just, I'd be asking myself that same question. In fact, I did ask myself that same question, and I've done it many times. And it was me getting so sick of where I was that I started to seek out answers as to why I wasn't doing stuff. Why wasn't I doing the things that I, kept saying I wanted to do? And I'm not any different from any of you guys. I got issues. I'm not going to tell you what they are. I got fears. I have things that I've put off in the past and things that I kept procrastinating on, saying, well, tomorrow, tomorrow, the next day. But my frustration in certain things in my life is what caused me to essentially come up with this formula. And some of you guys just aren't, I guess what's the right phrase, uncomfortable enough with where you are just yet. And it's really when you get to a point where things become unacceptable to you that you start reaching out for answers. And my suggestion is don't wait until it's too late to change. The cost is so much bigger. Eating yourself into heart disease, I know you guys never do that because this is like super healthy company. You know, but think about that. Somebody who eats themselves into heart disease where they have a heart attack, they require bypass surgery, that doesn't need to happen. It's not like someone heading in that direction didn't know the direction that they were heading. There were warning signs. And there's probably warning signs in your business if you're not taking action. And here's the thing, are you avoiding the warning signs in your business? If so, stop. And I had a guy, like, I don't know how many years ago this was. This is probably at this point, I don't know, probably 14 years ago. And he had ownership in a really successful golf company. Golf company is still in business. Actually, it's one of my favorite golf clothing companies. And he had ownership in that company. He sold it, and he had a decent chunk of money that he had in the bank as a result of the sale of that business. And he was starting a network marketing business, but he had this feeling, oh, I'm comfortable. You know, at least, you know, I got a little cash cushion. He didn't really feel that he had to act, so he didn't do anything. So here he is, like, kind of didn't have enough money where he's done, but he had enough money where he, you know, just kind of felt, hey, I don't have to do anything for a little while. And by the time he finally began to act, it was too late. He like ran out of money, and it's like he ran out of runway is what happened. He just had too short of a runway, so he finally, I got to get going now. And then because network marketing takes a little time to get going, people, volume, skills, all this takes time to accumulate. By the time he finally decided to do something, it was too late for him, so he had to go get a job. And it took him almost a year and a half to find a job. And he went from being, I don't know, what do you want to call it, relatively comfortable, okay, I mean, not rich by any stretch, but I mean, he didn't work for probably a year and a half or so, you know, it was almost 2.5 years actually, to completely freaked out and desperate because where he was at the time was acceptable to him. You don't want to have that happen to you. And by the way, this was when I experienced this little relationship thing with him. This is before I actually created this formula that I use today. And if I knew then what I know now, I would have like given him this formula and say, dude, do this because this works for me. And he probably wouldn't have been in that desperate situation that he found himself in. Here's the thing: look at your money situation at the moment. I don't know what it is, but maybe you're living a relatively comfortable life. You don't have a bunch of debt. It's not really bad. I mean, you have food on the table, you got a roof over your head, maybe you got some credit card debt and a couple unpaid bills or bills that are a little late. You don't pay them in full, but you're still doing all right. I mean, life isn't exceptional at the moment, but you know, you're good. Let me ask you this: since when did that kind of situation become acceptable to you? When did you like settle in and just go, okay, I'm going to accept it the way it is? You, once and for all, tonight, as you're hearing me right now, moving toward being consistent in your business requires that that kind of situation is no longer acceptable to you, that you can't take another day. You're done. And the question is, if you're relatively comfortable right now, even if it isn't that great, how then do you make it so it's uncomfortable? Some people like to teach this philosophy of, hey, go buy a bigger house, go get more debt, get a bigger, faster car, take on another payment, take on more debt, so you create more pressure, causing you to have to act. I've seen that. And I don't believe you need to do that. In fact, I think it's extremely detrimental to, I don't know, it just causes you to live in even more fear and more desperation, just like my friend did. It's not a fun situation. Here's the thing: the formula that I have, that I follow religiously, it causes me to search and find the worthiness or the value of whatever it is that I'm doing. In fact, I did the exact same thing before we committed to the remodel of the house. It's exactly what I did. I looked at the value of the project. You look at the value, the worthiness of you pursuing your network marketing business. And what that does is it naturally creates an environment for you where that particular situation is no longer comfortable. And it ultimately forces you into action without having to fabricate discomfort. Fabricated discomfort is just, okay, well, let's just take on another debt. That's not cool. Here's the thing. I want to teach you my entire formula for doing this, and I can't do it in 45 minutes, okay? And the purpose of the webinar tonight is to make you start thinking like, okay, where am I at? What am I doing here? Am I okay with where I am? Because I keep saying that I'm not, but then I'm not acting. It's like, hey, let's get to the end of the rope, the end of the road, and make a decision like, okay, and maybe you even have people on your team that are like that. In fact, you probably do. If you have anybody on your team, if you have a half a dozen people on your team, you probably have a couple people that are just like that. You know what it's like. And then if you have a bunch of people on your team, you know exactly what it's like. There's people in there that they're just settling. But then they say that they want to create this change, but then they just don't. So I have had so much request for helping people become consistent, which caused me, and I never, you know, the thing is, I followed this formula for like the last, I don't know, let me look back. What year is it? 2014. Since three or four years before I began speaking professionally. So for about 15 years or so, I've been following this formula. It's just something that it's literally, you're literally following steps. Like I started to do these things with, okay, I'm going to embark in this new business project. These are the things I need to do. First, I need to look at the project that I'm involved in and determine the worthiness of that project and really get clear, is it worth it for me to expend the energy to do this? Because if it's not worth it to me, if I don't really feel that there's a value to it, then I'm never going to do anything because it's a low value proposition to me. And then step two, okay, well, I've got to, you know, get my ducks in a row and make sure that I've got everything that I require, that I need in order to make this project happen, not just, you know, start it and then not finish it. So every time I've used the formula, I've finished what I started. So if you're in a situation tonight where maybe you're not finishing, or you're up, you're down, you're in, you're out, you're kind of there, but you're really not, but you know you want to be, but for some whatever reason or reasons you can't seem to be, I would really suggest that you take me up on what I'm going to share with you here in a second and just get the 11-step formula and go through this training. The way I structured it was so it's very easy for you to understand, so you can get it. In fact, I include a fully printed version of it so you can actually print it out and go through. There's a workbook that I created specifically for network marketing and following this formula. So you literally go through step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and you go through it. And if you go through the 11 steps and you don't skip them, and I'll just say this really quickly. One of the first lessons I ever learned on becoming successful was this: when somebody has something, they have a way of doing something. Like you see somebody who's really good at something, and they're willing to show you how they do it, and they're not willing to, or they're not hiding it. Oh, let me give you half the answer. I'll give you part of the answer, but I don't want to give you all the answer. If they're willing to lay it out to you and go, hey, here it is. This is how I do it. There it is, all unfolded. This is the whole thing right in front of you. And then you decide, well, I'm going to put my own spin on it. I'm going to skip step 4 and go straight to step 9. Or I'm going to do it this way instead of that way. You're only messing with yourself. And I'll tell you real quickly, in 1980, oh my goodness, I'm dating myself. I don't remember what year it was, maybe 88, 87, 88. I'll tell you a quick story. This is the first lesson that I learned, and just so you understand it, I had this guy that I met in my history class. I was at Professor John Walder's class at Long Beach State University, and I met this Hispanic guy, Fernando Avila. And Fernando was 42. I was, a kid in college, and Fernando came to my class. And he was there hanging out with the kids, and somehow he just kind of, I don't know, he just kind of followed me and my buddy Sean and became friends of our friends and kind of followed our little crew of people through college. And here's this, it was a little creepy, some 40-year-old guy or something hanging out with some college kids, but whatever. He always had money. Fernando always had money, and I had a candy wrapper in my pocket. Like if I opened my pocket, I had a hole in my pocket, or I had a candy wrapper. I had nothing in there. I had no money. And Fernando used to, we go to, we're in school. I'll buy the beer. Yeah, okay, cool. And one day he says to me, he said, and he pulled out this wad. He always had this wad of cash on him. And I didn't know what he did for a long time. And he said, Keto. He called me Kiddo. He's like, Keto, I show you how I make my money. I'm like, oh, okay. I don't know what you do, but okay. He goes, I sell cable television. And I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. He goes, I'll get you a job. We'll do this whole thing. So he gets me this job at this cable TV place in Orange County, California. And he said, now listen to me. He said, I'm going to teach you how I do it. I do it differently than all the other guys. I'm the #1 salesperson every single week. All these other guys, they work 6 days a week, 8, 10, 12 hours a day, and they can't even touch the production that I do, and I work maybe 3, 4 nights a week, a few hours a night. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I would like the sound of that. And so we're in Garden Grove, California, and Fernando, this is the creepy part. So Fernando and we're in the back of his 1971 GMC panel van. It's this old blue GMC ugly panel van, no windows. It's one of the creepy vans that you think about coming through your neighborhood. The only windows were the driver and the passenger side and the front window. And we're in the back of his van, and it's like nighttime. I know I'm setting up the creepiness, but go with me. And we're literally sitting on a bed in the back of his van, and he sits there and he writes me out a script. And he's writing me out a script in Spanish. He said, look, we don't go into this neighborhood. This is the neighborhood we work. We do it all 100% in Spanish. We only sell HBO. And he's like writing it down. This is the first script I ever, we talk about scripts and network marketing. This is the first script I ever learned. And he writes it out. Hola, yo soy de cable televisión. Vamos a venir a todas las personas aquí con el cable. Damos un mes de prueba. Si le gusta, lo deja. Si no le gusta, todo es gratis. El HBO es mitad de precio por 2 meses. Y cuando no le gusta, vamos a regresar todo ese dinero. La firma aquí, por favor. And that's actually word for word what that script was. If you don't understand Spanish, it doesn't matter. But if you do understand, you probably heard at least something I said. It's Spanish, right? And I didn't say, well, Fernando, I'm going to take the script and I'm going to go. Let me go into this. Let me redo it. Let me shift it. Let me go into this neighborhood and sell them Showtime and the movie channel. I did not reinvent I'm like, dude, you're barely working and you're crushing everybody. I'll do it exactly as you teach me. And I will tell you right now, within the first couple of weeks, that sales board #1 and #2, Fernando 1, Todd 2, or Todd #1, Fernando 2. Every single week, I'd be walking into the sales meeting on Monday morning with sand between my toes because I just got out of the water from surfing. And all the dudes that were in there, the sales guys that were sitting around the boardroom table, would be looking at me and Fernando as we walked in, typically the last 2 guys walking in the sales meeting, with frowns on their faces, with their arms folded, having this grumpy look. And then I walk right in, and I look right up at the board, and there's Todd or Fernando and Todd. And every week there was like an extra cash bonus. Well, why am I sharing that whole story with you? Because too often people take something and then they shift it, or they shortcut it, or they change it. My suggestion to you is if you're done not being consistent, you're up, you're down, or you're not doing what you could be doing in your business. If you take me up on this formula and you actually go through this course I'm going to share with you real quick, don't skip a step. Don't change a step. Go through all the 11 steps. Because it's the moment you change it, the moment you shortcut it, the moment you shift it, is the moment you're doing yourself a disservice. And I've learned that many times over the years of being an entrepreneur. So here's the thing. I want to show you something real quick. All the stuff that I'm sharing with you, this is a brand new course. I produced it about a month ago. It's called Cracking the Code to Consistency. It's my 11 steps to creating success in your business, reducing fear, stopping procrastination, getting more focused, becoming more productive. It's a 2-part webinar series that's recorded. The normal price on that's $147. You have instant access to it. Because you're on the webinar tonight, I put together a code, a special code to give you a discount so you don't have to pay. Because if you went to toddfalcone.com right now, and you went to my product section, you bought the course, you'd pay $147 for it. But I'm giving you this coupon code. If you're done being inconsistent, ready to be consistent, do it. It's $97. It's normally $147. there's the code. What you do is you go to that site. In the shopping cart, it says enter special code, and you enter the special code, and the special code is code. Go figure. And it'll drop the price from $147 down to $97. It's about 2.5 to 3 hours of information. It includes the workbook that you download. You go through the workbook as you're going through the formula. If you go through those 11 steps, I promise you, you'll be more consistent in your business. You'll figure out what's been slowing you down, and you'll get on fire with your network marketing business or any other project for that matter that you might be pursuing. So again, secretstocrackingthecode.com is the website. The coupon code is code, C-O-D-E. And if you get over there tonight, you'll be able to take advantage of that discount and not pay what most people pay at $147 and get it for $97. So here's the thing. You got a choice. You can either stay where you are. I don't know. Maybe you're cranking. If you're cranking, maybe you don't need this. But if you're not, you probably do. Because this will be the solution for you in getting yourself moving on some level of consistent basis. You're actually producing a check. And for $97 to finally get yourself into a productive mode, if you haven't been productive, I would get on it. secretstocrackingthecode.com. You see it in front of you. And go ahead and take advantage of that. And Blake, Angie, I appreciate the opportunity of sharing with your group tonight. I'll pass it back over to you.
Wow, Todd, this is Angie. Can you hear me okay?
I can, yeah, absolutely.
I'm real excited to get my hands on that, and not just for myself, because I know this is something that we've been talking a lot about in our Coach Basics. Fear, and fear holds you hostage, so you can't be consistent in the things that you need to do to bring your revenue up, which is kind of the end game for having a home-based business. With the course, will we have like basically we'll have assignments to work on, things that'll kind of prod us on through the 11 steps?
Yeah, the 11 steps. I mean, it's a workbook, and there are specific things that you go through with each step. So yeah, it says step 1, do this. Step 2, do this. Step 3, do this. Okay. And it literally takes you through the whole process of getting yourself into the zone of, okay, I'm going to set out to do this network marketing business. These are the things I need to do to make sure that I get them done, rather than what unfortunately a lot of people do is they just kind of look at it and they hang out for a little bit and then they split, which is very unfortunate.
It would be a good thing to do with a success partner too, to hold each other accountable, I bet.
Oh, for sure. Accountability partners are huge.
Awesome. Well, I'm really excited, and thank you for sharing what you did. I mean, I have to go back and listen to it again, because you had some great, I don't want to say one-liners, but you had some things that I need to write down and have up on a board to look at. Those things that remind you to stay consistent, avoid your fear. And so I want to go back and listen to the recording of this, and thank you. And I'll turn it over to Blake now. He might have some questions for you too.
For sure. Thank you. Appreciate it.
No, appreciate it, Todd, very much. I mean, everybody, we got this recorded. Hopefully it'll render, and we'll I will get it up tonight, and we'll send out the email and post it on our Facebook group page and everything. But for a lot of you guys, as you know, we're in Coach Basics, and the biggest thing that came up, especially actually like 2 days ago, was fear, and specifically was fear of being too much like a salesperson, and fear of just kind of like not knowing what to say, and so doing nothing, and like what Todd was saying, are you moving towards or escaping from your business? I think a lot of people, I heard that it was a overwhelming majority were kind of like like just not sure what to do, so you're kind of just escaping from your business. And so I think this is a great program everybody should take a look at. And here again, tomorrow we're going to be talking about tax-deductible business expenses with Mr. Ron Mueller. And this is, if you're treating your business like a real business and not a hobby, this is a tax-deductible business expense. It's an investment in your business. I don't make a penny off this, so that's not why I did this. Actually, Todd, we asked him to put this together for this group because he does sell it for $147 on his website, and said, hey, if you're going to do a training, you mind putting something special together? And so Todd put this together for the group, and this is just for this, our Team for Revolution Elite group. So with that, I'm going to thank Mr. Todd Falcone. Go make sure you go look at Buzzy Boxer so you can get see what this guy's personality is really like. He's a huge trainer in our profession, and he's got a great sense of humor, and he's a huge success. And you always got to take clues from people that are successful in life, and Todd's leaving you a good clue right here with his cracking the code to consistency. So with that, I'm going to close the call out tonight and say thank you again, Todd, very much, and we'll definitely have you back in the future because I know you got a lot of great trainings that you can help the team with. So
well, Blake, Angie, thank you so much as well.
Thank you so much, Todd.
Yep.
Have a wonderful
so
week.
Everybody, good night, and go to that, go to secretsofcrackingthecode.com, and we'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow, Coach Basics and Team Revolution Group. All right, good night.